Welcome to the podcast, folks. Dan, Jamie, Shane again with you this week. We're here to talk about the big game. Did anyone see it? No? Nobody saw the game? Jamie, Shane?
Was there a game on? What happened?
This has to be the worst intro ever to any podcast, especially one about American football, and we're here, or football, and we're here saying, is there a game happening? Or is there a game that happened? I assume you both watched the game of the weekend then.
I watched.
No, man, we were watching figure skating.
Yeah.
We were watching
Figure
figure skating. That's what we watched, right? Super Bowl, what? Figure skating, Olympics, much better.
Talking about the figure skating, didn't some girl get caught doping and then she actually, still allowed to play anyway or skate anyway?
Yeah, she's like 15.
I don't know. We didn't actually watch it.
I thought you had like the over-under on how many double axles she could do. You won some money on that this week.
I'd say figure skating is quite good. Like they were really, really good, but it's also very, very.
Okay, right. Stop right here. We are not talking about figure skating, right? This is not what this show is about. Let's get back on topic. It was a joke. You were taking it too far.
Welcome to the Irish Figure Skating Podcast. Actually, that's a bit of news we have for everyone. We changed our name. We're now the Irish Fantasy Punts.
Cue the pun.
Nothing.
Hashtag rebrand.
Cue the pun. I need to work on an intro that actually is like, hey, welcome to the podcast. It's the Irish Fantasy Punts. Here's Dan, Shane, and Jamie. And then, we'll have some cool-ass theme music going. It'll have to be like a jig or something.
Yeah, I can see it as like a big intro and just like the three of us running down the beach, just throwing footballs at each other. Yeah. Frolicking.
Like the Blink 182 video where Travis Barker's running down the beach with the blonde girl.
Oh, exactly. Yes. That would be us, guys. Basically, get like proper production value.
And then we'll make it like Rocky 3 when he's running down the beach.
God help us if we actually ever do make it big, because when the people go back and watch these and they're like, "What in God's name? What these guys on about? Figure skating, running down the beach."
Hey, if you're going to run down a beach, man, you cannot go past prime Baywatch, Hasselhoff era. That's where you got to be. That's the only beach running you should be thinking of. There should be no other beach running.
Have you watched Pam and Tommy yet?
No,
I have been meaning to watch it though. I keep saying it, and the guys in work even keep saying it's very good.
Yeah, no. The second we finish here, I'm putting Pam and Tommy on because Wednesday night. So we need to finish up here fast. So let's segue into the big game.
And yes, we did all watch the big game. So
I don't know about you two, but I lost a lot of money on the big game as well. Nothing came through at all. Even though T. Higgins did do the performance we all thought he would, it still made no difference.
Oh, no. If I think if that goes the opposite way, if the result goes the opposite way, I think you actually might have given the bet of the weekend, because Burrow, obviously he wasn't good enough to win the game, but T. Higgins had an outstanding game for the Bengals, and to me, if they had won it, he would have got the Super Bowl MVP. But he didn't.
I had a cash out on the bet at I had a cash out on the bet at the start of the fourth quarter, and one of the guys said, "Don't cash it out." It was 50 to 1. I would have won 255, and they gave me cash out of 40 quid. So it would have covered all my other bets, but I let it ride, let it go, and then of course it didn't work out for me. So just to recap, the score was 23-20 to the Rams in SoFi Stadium, with the new Super Bowl champions. Sean McVay becoming the youngest coach ever to win the Super Bowl. And I don't know how we would describe the game. I personally thought the game wasn't brilliant, but the offenses kind of came to the front at the end, but at the same time, the defenses still dominated the majority of the way, I've thought. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd actually agree with that. I thought it had a nice ebb and flow to it. Like, say, we had a decent bit of offense. We had T. Higgins' touchdown that probably should have been a touchdown, but we get to that bit of it later, was the longest touchdown in was it 8 years or something? The last one was like 80 yards, and this one was 75 yards. It was the longest touchdown in NFL Super Bowl in a long time. So we got some big plays. We got some great defense on top of it, which kind of, I don't know. I just thought it moved along nicely. But to me, I suppose anything with the Rams in the Super Bowl, anything that was better than their last Super Bowl was going to be better. That was the worst Super Bowl ever.
Yeah, well, very low standard.
Yeah.
What the record amount of sacks in the Super Bowl? The record tying sacks was 7 sacks on Joe Burrow. It was exactly what we thought it would be. It was a defensive line dominating a terrible offensive line, and it kind of came to the front with Aaron Donald getting the amount of sacks he did. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, it was just at the time when I was watching it firsthand. I was like, Joe, it's a good game. Joe, it was tight, but then we kind of went back and looked at it again, watched the highlights. It just seemed a little bit scrappy at times. Defense are on top. Offense couldn't get anything going. Like Stafford didn't look very good. He kind of redeemed himself there at the end, with the final drive to win the game. Poor Burrow. I just feel sorry for Joe Burrow, to be quite honest. Because if you could get someone to actually block for him, maybe made the Bengals win that game. They probably do win that game, because there was actually a really nice clip I saw afterwards. And when he got sacked on that 4th down to win the game for the Rams, Jamar Chase was gone. He was gone. If they had just held him off for like 5 to 10 seconds, Bengals win that game. Not that the Bengals.
You can see in the photo that Jalen Ramsey's on his arse and Chase is running down the sideline.
Yeah, and even Ramsey didn't have a great game. Ramsey
had an awful game.
He'd have something. Was it 150 yards? I think I read somewhere that he'd have passed him. I suppose again we'll come back to that T. Higgins moment when we get to the refs. But
yes, there is a section on the refs. Everyone, we're going to discuss the refs.
I think you have to. At
some point straight, we're getting to the refs.
But after what was the T. Higgins was the first play of the second half, and then on the first play for the Rams in the second half, Matthew Stafford has a pick. At that point, you just think, "Oh, this is the Bengals are just going to take this." But Aaron Donald gets a bit of I don't know how to word it, more of like a pump up from the Bengals sideline when they get a bit angry because he pushes Joe Burrow a bit late, and he kind of just went Super Saiyan and took the game into his own hands. And from that point, it didn't look like he was going to let that ring get away from him. He just took over the game, and that was that.
Yeah, you could actually see that happening. I remember when that happened and he pushed him. I was like, this is the worst thing that Cincinnati could possibly do. They have now pissed off the man. And he looked so angry after that. He just looked like he was going to take everything out for the rest of the game. And he did. He just took everything out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I thought their second half was a good mention there. Like second half, the Rams came out in the second half and they had 5 sacks in the third quarter out of their 7 in the game. 5 of them came in the third quarter. That's when they really started to take over defensively. Just as the Bengals were starting to look like they might get something really going and take off, it was the Rams defense kept them in it with all the weapons they had on offense. But I suppose when you lose Odell to injury and Higbee was out, the defense really did need to step up big for him. And Jalen Ramsey wasn't doing it for him. So the D-line and the linebackers had to come in and do it for him. I thought Robinson, I know everyone wants to talk about Aaron Donald and Von Miller, but I also thought Robinson, who we mentioned in the very first episode, myself and Jamie joined yourself now 3 weeks ago. I thought Robinson had an excellent game again on the line for the Rams. I thought he was brilliant. He was outstanding. He was making it so at times that you couldn't single cover or double cover Aaron Donald on the line.
Yeah, and you could just see from that defense, the Von Miller trade obviously had paid off for them and probably did give the Rams the push they needed to to make it to the Super Bowl and eventually win the Super Bowl. He had his 2 sacks himself, and
massively, yeah.
he probably won't be there next year. They went all in for him with the trade. They went all in for Odell with the free agent signing, and that brings us neatly on to Odell Beckham Jr., who unfortunately was having a stormer of a first quarter, and then midway through the second quarter goes out with the ACL, and hopefully he can come back from it. I'd say it's probably the same knee as last time, but he was having a stormer of a game, and then once he went, the Rams offense seemed to kind of stumble a little bit.
Yeah, like I suppose as Shane said earlier, with T. Higgins potentially having an MVP performance, like Odell Beckham was on the way to an MVP performance there. What did he have? He had 2 passes, 52 yards, and a touchdown. And that was on the first half. He just seemed to be getting free all the time. Cup wasn't really in the game at the time, but I suppose once Beckham went out, Cup was always going to be Cup's number 1 anyway, but he was always going to just take over, because where else could you aim the ball to? I can't remember who the wide receiver was that came in. Shane, I don't know you remember him, but I remember
Van Jefferson was the guy, and what was his name? He's the awkward name to say. We were trying to say it, but we were very drunk at this time, and we were looking at it. We were like, Screw a Cronick or something. But I can't think of his name. Ben was his first name. I remember the commentator said Ben.
We're going to call him the awkward guy, but he came in for Odell when he went out, and he just dropped the ball.
Causing an interception as well, which never really helps the case.
That guy, though, when that guy who we're calling Ben, Scrow or Nick, I think was some way of saying his second name. I apologize for butchering it. But like for his 2021 season, he had 11 receptions for 133 yards all year. Like, you cannot expect him to come in and replace OBJ. As Jamie said, OBJ had 2 catches for 52 yards, and he looked dangerous every time. So there was a point for the touchdown pass. Stafford, I don't think, took his eyes off him. He let everyone know where he was going, and OBJ still bet them. He was looking like he was going to be the MVP of that game, and it was horrible to see him get the injury. As much as he's an old Giants head, I still didn't. I would never enjoy that. I think he's a big personality. He's good for the league. It's fun for us to talk about.
Yeah. Van Jefferson really didn't step up at all.
No, like there was 2 big offensive plays, John, that you would say were like Super Bowl catches. There was one for Beckham's touchdown, and Chase had one. It was in the first half of the second half, but it's practically one-handed, and you're like, what a catch, And they were the kind of Super Bowl plays that we kind of expected that never really came to fruition. I know Cup got a lot of ball, but Cup being Cup made it look so easy. You're like, oh, well, that's Cup. So he's going to do it anyway.
Yeah, the Bengals offense, we've moved on now to Ja'Marr Chase. He had a couple of big catches. We kind of thought that this might happen, that Ja'Marr Chase might be quieter and T. Higgins would explode, and that is what happened. It looked like T. Higgins was going to have a big day with his 2 touchdowns. He was over 100 yards, and it just didn't seem like the Bengals coaching staff, well, the offensive coaching staff anyway, put them in the best position to go and win the game.
No.
Well, I would have said Mixon actually looked really dangerous. I know we talked during the championship game, the review of that, and we couldn't understand why they kept running the ball and they were going nowhere. And we said they wouldn't get away with doing that against the Rams because the Rams' defensive line was so good. But he ran for 72 yards off of 15 carries. Like, he was explosive. And what made even less sense was Joe Mixon wasn't even on the field for any 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 situations. He was completely out of the game. They used Samaje Perine in there. You cannot, when a running back is averaging over 4 yards a carry, take him out of the game on short yard situations is one thing if it's 3 yards out or 2 yards out. But when it's 1 yard and you need a guy to make a play for you, you have to have your best running back in the game, unless he is injured or something is wrong with him. But that was shocking coaching, I thought, by Taylor and the offensive coordinator. Shouldn't happen.
Yeah, they obviously have their third down package. Every NFL team does this, and it's infuriating where they have their third down package and they don't veer from it at any stage. But there should be like a break glass. This is the Super Bowl, the last drive. Why isn't Joe Mixon on the field? There should be a point where the coach goes, P. Ryan, you can sit down over there, and Mixon, you can go in. Or it's all or nothing at this stage. We're not going to save Mixon. We may as well play him every down at this stage because Mixon wants to be in.
Yeah, when it gets to that stage of the game, you play your 11 best guys.
Yeah, especially the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're not looking to save feelings at this point, Joe. These feelings can go away, Joe. Put your best man in, make that yard, and get the first down. They had 3 on that very last play. They had 3 goals to get that 1 yard and didn't get it. What was even more infuriating at that point was on the 4th and 1 when Burrow got sacked and he was about to throw the ball. P. Ryan could have actually made that play as well. And he just seemed to just stand up and look at the ball. And I'm watching this, and you're going,
especially the third and 1.
Put your back into jump. Just jump and catch the ball. Making attempts at least.
On the third one, he could just if you have Mixon in, that's a that's a first down if that's Mixon. He's getting that power run through. There's no way. But you have Samaje Perine in there because you're stuck on your stupid third down package that you should have abandoned.
Yep. Yeah, it's 100. It makes no sense. Makes no sense to just stick with it.
Yeah, so we'll give the Bengals coaching staff a big red axe on that one, red cross, because it just didn't work. And now we can go on to the next big red X we have in this game, the officials. Now, Shane, you can go first.
Right. Look, what I'll actually do is I'll lay out the no calls that I saw in the game, and you guys can talk about them from there. But I couldn't believe some of this, and there's one of them in particular that is quite shocking. But we'll go Bengals first, right? Because it's a shorter list. The Bengals one, we all know, everyone talked about it afterwards. It was T. Higgins with the face mask on Jalen Ramsey that went for a touchdown. Shouldn't have really been a touchdown. So you guys can take that one off of there if you want.
Yeah, well, there's not much to say about it. It was a blatant penalty.
Yeah,
it
was no arguing it was a penalty.
It made no sense. You have no, there's no backup for the referees in that situation.
Yeah, and
100% a penalty.
I get it, and people were going mad about it, right? But the Rams, they can't call for no call, right? They had no real substance in going after it because the no calls they have are so much bigger than just that one touchdown that the Bengals did score, because the Rams had Ramsey's hold in the first half, right? That didn't get called, right? Now there's no saying it would have led that bigger, but Ramsey's hold, right? That's a small one. Then on the Rams drive in the 4th quarter, it was under 2 minutes to go, and it's 3rd and goal. Logan Wilson gets called for a hold. That in itself shouldn't have been called, I thought. But what's worse is if you actually go back and look at it, the Rams had a false start. The 2 tackles clearly jump before the ball ever comes out. And then Logan Wilson breaks up the play and they get 3 yards anyway, which ends up leading to the touchdown. So, Jamie, if you want to jump in on that one there, tell me what you think of that.
Yeah, it just feels when you're watching football at times that, you can't, there's no 50-50 contest, that there won't be the wide receiver and the defensive player just fight it out, just try and get the ball, to me, that just seemed he had a tiny tug, right? And I mean the smallest of tugs, right? But if you're trying to block and defend the player, you have to touch him at some point of that play. You can't just call up a defensive penalty just because somebody has touched another player. And if that's the way this is going to go down the line, that's the way we're going to start officiating these games, then everything is going to be a hold call. Like everything is going to be a pass interference call. You'll just have a wide receiver stepping off a defensive player, and they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, sorry, can I try and stop catching the ball?" Like, no, I want to catch the ball. Okay, sorry, off you go, Cooper Cup.
But even in the still image after it doesn't even look like he has any part of him. It looks like his hands are just like sitting on his hips slightly. It's not even can't even be considered a hold.
Yeah, it was almost like the ref was guessing because of his hand position in a Super Bowl,
and on the
in
false,
a 3rd and goal situation.
Yeah, they really went nuclear on that last drive for the Bengals, where they were just like flag, 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 and you're like, what's the flag for now?
And on the false start, it's like they both moved in such unison. You kind of think, was everyone supposed to move? I think that's how they got away with it almost.
Oh, but it's still, like the officials have got to be good enough coming into a Super Bowl that when the center doesn't snap the ball till I know it's only half a second, but a half a second off a snap is a huge amount of time for most NFL refs, like, and they don't cop it at all. If you actually look at the film and see when the centers go and when Stafford gets the ball in his hands, it's like a fucking millennium is passing.
False start, everyone but the center.
Yeah, the very last one I have then that I caught that I thought was massive was if you actually look at the very last play of the game, when Donald gets in for his second sack of the game to win the Super Bowl for the Rams, look at where his hand is lined up on the line. Donald is actually lined up offside before he goes through for that sack. What do you think of that, Dan?
Yeah, I've seen this, that he was lined up in an offside position. I'm not sure, was it the very last one? I have seen that he was offside on... He definitely was offside on one play, but I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, if it was the last play, it's even more egregious.
That's
to be honest. Yeah, no, it shouldn't be allowed to happen at all. But as a whole, I think the game still evened out, and I think fair enough. There was the offensive pass interference that led to the touchdown for T. Higgins. There was the 3rd and goal Logan Wilson pass interference, and there was that offsides as well. I don't feel like the Rams were given the game by the refs. I feel like the Rams won the game. Still very heartbreaking for the Bengals as well, but the Bengals offense didn't get it going at any stage either. They got their touchdown off a PI, an offensive PI. So the officials had a bad game, but I'm still not going to say it's not the Rams Super Bowl, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but that Logan Wilson hold call actually led to the Rams touchdown. They don't get that call. They have to kick or they have to go for it on 4th down. And the Bengals defense was playing lights out all the way up through. They were really good. They weren't keeping them out as good as what the Rams defense were, obviously, but the Rams defense went nuclear second half, as we said. But I don't know, can you say that they make that 4th down if they have the false start and that pushes them back further? Are they going to go for it with the time that's left in the clock? Or are they going to kick it and use all their timeouts? You can't know. So to me, I think the officials, as much as I think the Rams deserved it in the overall play, I still think the officials gave them the win in the end. I think it worked out that the refs ended up killing them.
You can make the same argument for the T. Higgins touchdown, though. You can make the exact same argument. If he doesn't get that
a touchdown apiece, it would still work out Bengals' favor.
Well, if you knock off a touchdown each, it's going to be just, what is it going to be, like 13-16?
So then you have the argument, do we kick it? Do we go to overtime? What happens there? But we're not. I don't really want to get into all that, but it was a touchdown apiece, say that you'd be scrubbing off. But the last call is the one that kills me more than anything, is the Donald offside to win the game. I thought that's the one that really got at me for
the one that really irks you, the one that
ended
the game.
I just, especially because look, I know he had such a great game. He deserves. If Cooper Kupp wasn't going to be the MVP, Aaron Donald would have been my MVP. But it annoys me so much that the game ended on something that should have been first down yardage for the Bengals and would have put them in a better position. We would have got a drive to get down to the end. Probably clock ran out with the Bengals on offense or them scored. It would have been a more dramatic end, a better end to the Super Bowl, I think, is what gets it to me more than anything.
I'd actually argue the other way, to be quite honest about it. I think if the call on T. Higgins gets called, I think the Rams run away with this. Like, I don't think the Bengals would have been able to keep up with them at all. You know, like when Higgins got that touchdown, you know, then the Bengals were able to kind of go small ahead, and then the Rams were kind of chasing the game. But, you know, if they don't get that touchdown, I think the Rams just, they're under no pressure. They just play their game and better offense. They just blow them out of the park. I don't think the Bengals played well at all in this game.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. The Bengals never really looked like scoring, apart from like they kind of got lucky on the first play of the second half, and their offense never really looked like it was ever going to catch serious fire and put up actual points, because they were just getting killed in the second half by the defensive line. I do understand what you're saying, Shane, where it to me, when I was watching it live, it felt like the Bengals were going to go down the field and score on that last drive, and we were going to get the Super Bowl ending that we all love in American football. We all love in the NFL. The drama that comes with a last ditch attempt to score, essentially. Do you have any rebuttal, Shane, or are you happy enough now to
look, I'm happy with it. I get the argument that is in it. It's all what ifs, right? And it's the game. Look, that's what we love about it. Look, there is mistakes. They are only human at the end of the day. It does happen. But in the biggest game of the year, I just find when like the two of them, when they're leading the score and plays, and especially when they have video review there, like it annoys me when it gets out of, you know, when something, them kind of big decisions ruin the game. Like, well, they don't ruin it. It didn't ruin. I loved the game. I thought it was brilliant, but you know what I mean. It just tainted it a little bit for me at the end. Like, because instead of seeing a big drive to end the game and let Joe Burrow throw the ball at a Hail Mary, and if it lands in, it lands in. If it don't, it don't. The Rams win or the Bengals win, but leave the offense win the game. The fact that Donald didn't get caught, or whatever way you want to put it, there was no challenge on it. They had no timeouts, whatever way it was. Like, I don't remember the timeout situation at the end of the game, actually. But that just, you know, for me, watching Stafford kneel it and walk off, that was, I would have preferred to just see it end 3-0 on the clock and the ball in the air. Like, you know, that would have been the dream ending for me. But especially with the way the game went all game.
Donald got his ring in the end. He called for his ring after he got the sack. He beat his man. He got in. He causes the sack on Burrow, and then he doesn't win the MVP, though. The MVP goes to Cooper Kupp, who had 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. In my opinion, I thought Donald should have won it. I understand Cooper Kupp has had a great season, and Cooper Kupp had a massive game here, and he did cause. Once Odell Beckham left the field, they did stutter for a little while, but then Kupp kicks into gear and scores his 2 touchdowns, gets his 92 yards. But I don't feel the Rams win this game if Donald doesn't do what he does, if he doesn't have that amount of sacks. I think he had 5 sacks out of the 9 or 7 or something stupid like that. I think Donald had just an amazing game. And I think, in my opinion, he was the MVP, and they won it on defense. I don't think they won it on offense today. I don't think Stafford was amazing. Kupp was brilliant, but I still think defense won this game. Jamie, any opinions?
Yeah, no, I'd probably agree. I think we were watching the last day. We were saying, you know, once the whistle went, you know, it's either Kupp or Donald, but I think we all thought Donald kind of just about edged it because, as I say, that defense in the second half won him the game. It looked like after Stafford threw those first two, the interception at the start of the second half, you were like, okay, right, if the Bengals can score here, they're going to get that little bit more ahead, and they'll probably go on to win it. But then they pissed off Donald. He didn't like it, and that was it. Then they didn't score after that. If whatever his stupid amount of sacks was, 100% won this game for them. Matt Stafford did not win this game for him. But saying that too, you can see why Cooper Kupp would get it. He'd a serious amount of runs. He got him out of a lot of holes when there just had no one else to go to. The running game for the Rams wasn't working at all, ever. So, I think it was the 3rd and 1 at one point, and they went, here you go, Kupp. Away you go, 10 yards, and they're down the field.
That was the end around play, yeah.
Yeah, he's their go-to guy. You can kind of see why. If he, if Kupp doesn't do what he does either, the Rams aren't in the position to win it. So you can kind of see why. And like his statistics over the whole year are just crazy. Like, like I have some fun facts. If you want to hear some fun facts, I have no problem.
Yeah, hold on a minute for your fun facts. We're going to do a segment on your fun facts. I think Shane is more on the Kupp side of the MVP debate, so we're going to have to let him take a shot at it.
Well, yeah. Look, the reason I'd be more Cooper Kupp than Aaron Donald is everyone has this thing in their head, and I've talked to a few people who watched it, and some people are not even massive into the NFL, but they watched the Super Bowl. And they all knew who Aaron Donald was. And they all said, geez, he was brilliant. He had a great game. Oh, he was constantly on top of the other QB. He was all over him. Aaron Donald had 4 tackles in the game, 3 solo tackles, 2 sacks. He had 2 tackles for loss, which were the sacks, and he had 3 QB hits throughout the game. Now, here's another player in the same game as Aaron Donald on the same defense who had 2 tackles, both sacks, both obviously then tackles for loss. He had a pass deflection, and he had 3 QB hits. That was Von Miller. So why, in my opinion, why is Aaron Donald being talked for the MVP of the game? I know he probably rallied the defense, but Von Miller is one of the most experienced guys out there. Von Miller is the second guy in the history of the NFL to have 2 or more Super Bowls and have multiple sacks in those Super Bowls. He's only the second guy in history to do it. Von Miller is a leader on that defense. He's going to be. And he had, in my opinion, just as good of a game as what Aaron Donald had. Now, Aaron Donald, when they pissed him off, that's when things started to go bad. But Von Miller was playing outstanding that whole game. And then you look at Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp had to deal with no Higbee. There was no Odell. Cam Akers couldn't run the ball to save his life. Henderson couldn't run the ball to save his life. Stafford wasn't exactly playing his best football. And Cooper Kupp made the best of every single reception he made, and the one rush he had, he was outstanding. To me, Cooper Kupp was the key to the Rams staying in the game. We knew the Rams defense was going to be good. And their offense, on paper, healthy. Yes, they wipe most teams out. But without the running backs having a great game, with no Odell to take any coverage away from you, with no Higbee to help you out, Kupp still found a way to get open and free and make big plays. And for me, that's why Kupp deserves it.
Well, saying about Kupp in his postseason run, 33 passes for 478 yards and 6 touchdowns. So he has had an excellent postseason to go with his regular season. So, splitting hairs here, saying Kupp doesn't deserve MVP. Like he obviously is a great player, and he obviously did everything for the Rams offense in this game. So I'm not gonna die on this hill saying Donald. I just think Donald had the biggest impact, but I can 100% see why Cup would also have a huge say in it. He did win Offensive Player of the Year as well, so he got the Super Bowl MVP. So he didn't have a bad season at all.
Funnily enough, he's only the second guy to ever do that.
Jerry Rice.
Yep, that is the other man to do that.
Fucking fun fact.
Fun fact. All right, Jamie, you can have your fun facts. All right,
No, you took my fun facts.
I hijacked it before he even started.
Need like an alarm bell that Jamie can start hitting if we're getting anywhere near his fun facts.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right, Jamie, list off your fun facts. Give us some quickly.
Okay, well, I have some good Bengals ones, right? Because apparently the Bengals are the most unluckiest team of football at the moment, right? So, Cooper Kupp is only the 8th receiver ever to win the MVP award, right? And he's the second wide receiver to win it against the Bengals, right? But not only that, right? There were 5 times, right, the team was trading in the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl, right? And 2 of those years, they're both against the Bengals. So I just think the Bengals are destined to never win the Super Bowl at this point. They're also now tied for the most amount of Super Bowls lost, winning one. So they're now 0-3 in Super Bowls.
Real Mayo stat that.
It really is. We found a Mayo American football team. It's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh. Poor Mayo. Anyway. Is that all the fun facts?
Oh, I have plenty of fun facts, but we'll come back to them as we go down now.
Oh, as we keep going, yeah.
I just had Cooper Kupp facts, so I was like, let's just call out some Cooper Kupp facts.
Oh, okay. I'll give us a couple of side stories here that might make us feel a bit better. We've talked about the game, so Van Jefferson's wife went into labor during the game. So the second the game finished, he had to rush to hospital. His father handed his child across the barrier at the game. He went to the hospital, and he's had a baby since. And I cannot find the baby's name at all. So congratulations to the Van Jefferson family having a Super Bowl ring and a baby.
Which one's rather?
Super Bowl ring.
I wasn't going to answer that, but Jane went straight for it. Tyler Rapp, also of the Rams, he got engaged right after the game. So his missus got a ring as well as him getting a ring. So that's a nice little parody right there. I'm definitely not giving my missus a ring. I won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is my day.
And Aaron Donald is thinking about retirement, so that's good for everyone in the NFC West. I'm very happy about that.
Oh no, you can't be happy about that, Dan. He's one of the greatest NFL defenders we're probably going to see in our generation, especially. The dude is a beast. Like he brings something to the game. Yeah, I love watching the Rams defense for Aaron Donald. Before they ever got Von Miller or Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald was still superb on that defense. Like you have to like Aaron Donald. I know he's in your division, but
you don't have to see him chasing your quarterback down every season. Your division's terrible. There's nobody good in the NFC East.
We have to watch the Eagles win a Super Bowl, all right? That's worse. It's way worse than watching the Rams win one.
No, I do like Donald. He's like one of those players on your opposite team that you actually enjoy watching, which makes it even sicker. Jamie, any thoughts on whether Donald will retire or whether it's just all just posturing?
I could see him retiring. He's done a lot. Like his CV is just immense, right? So I have some of them here. Like he's Rookie of the Year 2014, now a Super Bowl champ, 8 times Pro Bowl, 7 times first team All Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2010s All Decade Team, 90+ PFF grade every year. He's only ever missed 2 games, and they're not injury related. Like he's just an incredible player. If he did hang up his boots, it'd be a sad day for football. As much he's one of those players, as you say, Dan, that you hate seeing your team play against, but you can't help but just appreciate how good he is.
The Rams also have a lot of free agents this year, so it feels like this was their run at it. So I don't know if they'll be back next year. Like Beckham's a free agent, Von Miller's a free agent, Darius Williams is a free agent, Sony Michel is a free agent, Donald might retire, and even McVay hasn't ruled out retirement. I don't know what the hell he's on about. He's 36 and a coach, so I don't know why he wants to retire at this stage. But the Rams feel like this might have been the one shot they had at, and they took it. Shane, any opinions?
Yeah, I think we said this as well before. This was a big all or nothing kind of for the Rams, wasn't it? Like they gave away everything to win it this year, and look, it worked out for them in the end. They were deserving of it in the game. Like I know I mentioned a few things earlier, but realistically, the way the game laid out, they were deserving of it. Getting on to the Sean McVay thing, though, Sean McVay must be looking at Mike Tomlin going, man, he got one. He didn't get another one. He struggled for years. Look what's happened to him. Man is getting stressed over there in Pittsburgh. He was like, I don't want that here in LA. And I'm not going to have all my players back like Mike Tomlin did. They're all gone next year.
McVay won his at 36 years and 20 days, and Tomlin won his at 36 years and 323 days. So I'd say Mike Tomlin's ripping to lose that record.
Yeah.
Jamie, this is definitely going into your fun facts section. So, Jamie, we're going to finish off the Super Bowl coverage. Hit us with any fun facts you have left.
Okay. Do we want Super Bowl fun facts or random fun facts?
Give us the Super Bowl ones, and if we have time at the end of the show, we'll give you another couple of fun facts. I feel like I have to ration you on fun facts, otherwise I'll be awake all night.
That's a fair point. Let me see. What do I have left? What do I actually have left? That's a good point. Actually, I think I've raffled off most of them, to be honest. So,
I
as
can
we
give
know,
you one.
Yeah, go on, Dan.
Von Miller, 2 sacks in a game with 2 multiple teams in 2 different Super Bowls. So he had 2 sacks with Denver when they won that Super Bowl, and he had 2 sacks with the Rams on Sunday night. So he's the first player to ever have 2 sacks in multiple Super Bowls with different teams.
There you go.
He's a great player, right?
Do you have any others?
I have a good one here, right? So on rushing touchdowns, right? So this game was just the 4th Super Bowl ever to feature exactly 0 rushing touchdowns, right? But not only that, right? So the Rams, right? They rushed for 1.9 yards a rush. So they're the first winning team in Super Bowl history to average under 2 yards a rush. How can you average under 2 yards a rush? I think I could run 2 yards a rush.
No,
Which brings us
I
back
think
to
we've
our
had this.
this brings us back to our first episode, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've discussed before whether we think we'd be able to rush a yard against an NFL defense with a full NFL offensive line in front of us. I don't believe I'd be able to do it, but Shane and Jamie think they could get that 1 yard going against that defense.
I back myself.
Man, all you got to do is fall forward.
Joe Mixon was involved in his trick play as well. The Bengals running back became the first non-quarterback in the Super Bowl history to throw a TD pass. Do you have that one? No?
I did have that one, yeah.
The last time it happened apparently was Trey Burton.
Non-quarterback. Yeah, sorry. I thought you said he was the first non-quarterback.
No.
How could we forget the Philly special?
He was the 5th non-quarterback.
Oh,
sorry, that was
I thought
probably my terrible accent. I think we'll leave the fun facts then. Have you got one more, Jamie?
I have one more here, right? And it just leads me into a nice story about my guy Shooter. So when Evan McPherson scored in the 3rd quarter, right? So the Bengals then went 5 straight possessions without scoring. So that's notable because they didn't go 5 straight possessions without scoring a single time during the regular season, right? But I also want to bring that up because Shooter himself, did anyone watch him at the halftime show when everybody else was stressed off their nuts and he was just sitting aside on the sideline watching the show, happy out?
I didn't see
I
that, no,
did
but
see
we
that.
Did you
haven't
not see
mentioned the
that?
halftime. No.
He was just there, spread eagles on the sideline, watching the boys, absolutely delighted himself.
We didn't mention halftime at all. It was a pretty good halftime show, so we better give it a bit of clout there. Shane, what was your thoughts on the halftime show?
I really enjoyed it. Like I've watched a few Super Bowl shows, say from years past, that even say when I wasn't watching NFL or I was too young to watch any of the NFL, even though what it was or when it wasn't been broadcast over here. And I thought from all the ones I've watched back over the years and ones I've seen myself, I thought it was top three. Definitely, I really enjoyed it. The one thing that got me in it was 50 Cent showed up, right? And out of everyone they announced, like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg had the most time. So 50 Cent got just as much time as Eminem and Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige. Why not just announce them? Why did they do 50 like that?
I didn't feel like 50 was even needed in it though. Like the people that get announced were already so amazing. Like I don't know, that was just my own opinion, but
Yeah,
Jamie, did you want 50 there?
No, he was very low tier because even when he kind of, when he was just hanging upside down like a bat, you're like, who's that? And you're like, oh, it's 50 cents. That's nice. It wasn't like, oh my god, it's 50 cents. It's like, all right, okay, cool. And then we see him again, and that was it. I was like, well,
I
fair
was
play
full
to
sure
him if
they
he
were
got paid for
gonna.
it.
I was full sure they were going to start with Still DRE, but they ended up finishing it with it. But I thought that would have been a great opener with just a piano. That was some piano they got in for Dre though. Jesus, how the hell did they carry that thing in there?
Many hands make light work.
They just got 50 to carry it in, and he didn't leave. Just like up over his head and walked it in.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey Dre, where'd you want it? Is it on the end there?"
Then he just hid in the rafters underneath the stage until he got a chance to start singing.
Oh, poor 50 boys.
Oh.
I thought he deserved the credit at least. Like he got just as much time as the rest of them. Why? Why not just say he was going to be there?
Here, we'll abandon the halftime show and we'll move on to the actual NFL news, non-Super Bowl related. We'll run through all this stuff kind of quickly. We have a whole off season now of darkness to talk about all this until August. We'll get a bit of preseason football. So we'll start off with this. The Colts might dump Carson Wentz according to ESPN.com. The Colts are likely going to trade or release Wentz before March 18th. I think we could all see this coming. He was bad at the end with the Colts, and they weren't happy about it after they missed off on the playoffs. Jamie, what do you think of Carson Wentz getting dumped again?
Poor Carson Wentz. It's really gone downhill for him, hasn't it? But like who the Colts even going to get now? There's a lot of whole quarterbacks out there. Obviously, everyone's talking about Garoppolo. I suppose he's the top trade out there at the moment. But
It's not a bad shout, that actually. Maybe trade Carson Wentz to the 49ers. They get a backup for Lance, and you get Jimmy Garoppolo as a starter. Maybe you send Wentz and a second round for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, maybe that's what you do. But Garoppolo's gonna be one of those players that is thrown into every single trade that you'll see over the summer. But yeah, he was poor for the Colts. The Colts need to do something. A good quarterback there with Jonathan Taylor as your running back. And you got Pittman as the wide receiver. You got a good quarterback there. There's a playoff team in there.
Yeah, I like that idea, Jimmy G to the Colts. You got anything there, Shane? Any ideas on this Carson Wentz nonsense?
Yeah, look, Carson Wentz. I think the injuries have done him now. He's going to struggle. We might get one more good season out of him somewhere down along the line, but he's probably going to have to hope for a backup job or someone goes down or he gets an opportunity, maybe another Fitzmagic down the road for us, who knows. But Jimmy G, I like to the Colts, but if the Colts give a second round pick and Carson Wentz for Jimmy G, the Colts are idiots. Jimmy G is not. Look, I said I don't agree with the 49ers trading him, but I don't agree with anyone trading for Jimmy G either.
Jimmy G
Fair
just
point,
went
well
a weird
made.
hiatus.
More quarterback-related news. Kyler Murray is frustrated with the Cardinals, according to ESPN.com. Murray is frustrated with the franchise, was embarrassed by the team's 34-11 playoff loss to the now Super Bowl winning Los Angeles Rams, and thinks he was made a scapegoat of by the franchise. The Cardinals are also trying to backtrack this now and say that Kyler Murray is immature and different things like that. To me personally, as a Cardinals fan, it's just a load of nonsense. And anyone who thinks Murray won't be the starting quarterback in Arizona at the start of next season is an idiot, because they have him under contract. They will extend him. Money makes everything feel better, and we will go into next season the exact same with all this nonsense put behind us, I would imagine. Shane, your opinions on Instagram spite?
Yeah, look, I'd agree with you on what you said. I do think he will be there, and I think money will talk. He will stay, but like, he can't make out he was made to be a scapegoat when you only scored 11 points. You have the most important position on the team. Good quarterbacks throw people open. They make the best of a bad situation. If you don't have your best guy open, you throw someone else open. So as the quarterback, you have the most to answer for. You know, like, you can't go around and just be a child and throw the ties out of the pram because, oh, he didn't get open down the field there. Well, like, throw him open or run it. You're one of the quickest quarterbacks. I will
say he was missing Hopkins, though. He was missing Hopkins, so I'll give him that one.
Oh, he was. Jamie, and I 110% agree with that as well. Like, Joe, he was missing his best receiver. But still, you're the guy. Do something.
Yeah, well, Kyler Murray had games like that throughout the entire season, you know, where you expected him to do so well, and then he just wouldn't show up, you know. I agree with you guys. Like, I couldn't see him going anywhere else, to be quite honest about it. You know, but he obviously has some sort of an issue, you know, because there was stories coming out as well that he refused to go back in the fourth quarter as well. Now, however true or not that is, you know, but there's ties out of the pram there in the Cardinals, and you know, they need to sort it out fairly quick.
Yeah, apparently JJ Watt put a video up on Twitter this morning, making a big deal about the fact that Kyler Murray didn't answer his WhatsApp or his YouTube video message or whatever it was, and he was just kind of saying, "Oh my God, what the hell will the media make of this? That he won't answer the phone to me." Obviously, JJ is trying to take a bit of a PR move there and make sure there's no pressure on anyone.
Wise old head bite.
JJ is well on the ball, I'll tell you that much. Might be injured for half the season every season, but you know, he has a good noggin on him. All right, let's move on to more quarterback related news. Packers are ready to go all in on Aaron Rodgers. Whoa, Green Bay news. According to NFL.com, the Packers are willing to offer Rodgers a deal that makes him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL on a per year basis. Jesus, Jamie, the Packers really made a mess of this one, didn't they?
Yeah, and I didn't mention the Packers once in this podcast. It's a record. But yeah, if you were talking to me 3 days ago on this, I'd be like, yes, 100%. This is exactly what we want. The Packers, Rodgers back. And then Shane talked to me, right? And I've been thinking about this for days, you know, where Shane was talking, he was saying, you know, that if Rodgers, you know, they pay him, pay Devontae, you know, you're talking short term, and then 2 or 3 years later down the line, your team is gone, and it's very hard to fix that. You know, where you take the hit now, trade away, try to trade up for a quarterback. You know, you're paying for a year or two, but it probably fixes your problem in the long run. And as much as I hate to say it, I don't think they should go all in on Aaron Rodgers now. Because if they take Aaron Rodgers, they have to take Devontae Adams. And if they take Devontae Adams, their cap is fucked. Cap's gone, you know.
Don't forget about MVS. He will definitely want MVS as well.
I'm Randall Cobb, man, and Lazard, all the wide receivers.
You've got to pay them all of them. He's not happy if they're not paid.
Yeah, he'll want them all.
He hates everyone.
Like obviously Jordan Love is not the quarterback that we thought he was when he was trading, you know, because then he would get. He hasn't looked good any game he's played. He looks very unsure, and even if he is a rookie, he's even unsure for a rookie. Now,
he'll be a free agent by the time you're actually ready to use him. By the time Rodgers retires, he'll be a free agent. You have to pay him as well, and you'll never have seen him play.
Yeah. Now, what I do think will happen, I really do think they will hold on to Rodgers and Adams, but by doing that, they'll fuck up the rest of the team. You know, but I would be surprised if Aaron Rodgers isn't saying Green Bay.
And the last bit of news here is non-quarterback related. Adrian Peterson was arrested over the weekend and is now facing felony domestic violence charges. I don't think we were going to see Adrian Peterson back in the league again anyway, but I think this is the final incident with Adrian Peterson we're going to see. So I think that's the end of that career. There's NFL owners in hot water, but we're not going to touch on that today. We have a whole off season to kind of talk about all that nonsense, and that kind of brings us to the end there, guys. We did have a couple of the trades to talk about, but I think we're going to cut them off and maybe talk about them next week because I want to go and watch Pam and Tommy, and it's getting a little bit late here. What do you guys think?
Suits me, buddy.
Sounds good. But before we go, can we just say like how the NFL just screwed up The Rock the other day? On a closing note, you know.
God!
Did you guys see this? Sorry, The Rock come out in all burgundy, looking absolute. Well, I don't know what he looked like, to be quite honest about it. But on the NFL YouTube page, they came out and called him the guy from Fortnite with the most electric introduction in Super Bowl history. And I'm like, you're just teasing us, you're just leaving us alone.
Did that actually happen? That's a confirmed fun fact.
That's actually confirmed, 100% confirmed. I went onto YouTube to check, and I actually did, and I was quite angry.
Whoever said it needs to be sacked. Should have happened as soon as they said it, but in the morning now, after this podcast goes live, they need to be sacked.
It was marketing genius, I have to say, because I saw this on Twitter, and the first thing I did was I went straight to YouTube and looked at the video. You know.
Yeah, well, you told me, and I didn't do that because I'm not an idiot.
That's what trust me, you know.
Okay, guys, we're gonna close up shop there and finish out the show. Thanks to everyone for listening, and if you want to get any of us on Twitter, you'll get me at DanFFman, at ShaneCarroll953, and at JimJamTheMonk. Those are all the Twitter handles. You'll get, if you want to get a spot in our Dynasty League, you can get me through that Twitter handle, and I'll get you a team set up for the next draft going. And thanks for all the listens. Thanks for all the views. We're going to put this on Twitter as well and get YouTube, get a few views there maybe, or just, tank horribly there. We can see how we go. Thanks for listening, folks. Bye.